Dispatch all biters. My quest to free the country of zombies. By Mystic Alchemist. Copyright 2020 Mystic Alchemist. All rights reserved. Written in Australian English. This book is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places and incidents are either a product of the author's imagination or are used fictitiously. Any resemblance to actual people living or dead, events or locales is purely coincidental. Chapter 17. Air Traffic Control. I followed the arrivals sign, stopping right in front of the main door, the bus close behind us with Kathy saying that this was where the buses lined up. Nothing moving around us and no signs of anyone else. While I helped the bus driver out through the window, the rest stood close waiting to learn their fate. When the plane comes, I intend to guide the new arrivals here and then release our friends from the bus as a welcoming committee. Until then, I want someone to use the computers to find information of how far this infection has spread. Then I want to find if there is a way of turning off the power and water to this city, and maybe find some more vehicles we can use to make our escape. When do I get to make an explosion? Geraldine asked. Once the plane has unloaded and is driving away, you can crash it on the runway. Blocking, the bus driver said. Making this the last plane to land here for a while, I said. The others were talking about who could do what job, with Nigel saying he would be best with helping Kathy work the airport lights and computer. The bus driver offered that he knew where there were a couple of trucks with guns on them, and I thought that was a great task for Geraldine and me to help with. Geraldine sat between us and the bus driver directed me where to go. The area seemed to be a business area close to the city center. He pointed to a high-security gate that needed a pass. The bus driver pulled a pass card from over his head and passed it to me, and I offered it to the metal box that was set at truck window height. There was a beep from the box and I handed the card back to the bus driver, watching the gate slowly slide open. Ahead was a large signless concrete building. One normal door and another high roller door for vehicles. Should only be 1 or 2 people. Go through that door. Geraldine and me armed, me with my axe as well, we all approached the door. Another box needing a card, and then there was the hum as the lock released and I pushed the heavy metal covered door open. The inside seemed to be one large brightly lit room, 5 trucks with machine guns like we'd battled before standing in line ready for a quick exit. 2 men looking up to see who was entering and one saying, "Brought some strays," toward our bus driver. "More like people with an offer," our bus driver said. "We're looking for some who might like to leave and join others that want to fight the invaders," I said, watching both men carefully. Neither seemed to be armed. "And do what?" "Right now get rid of the load of invaders that are preparing to land at the airport, and then continue fighting wherever and however we can," I said, "before the invaders eliminate you to make room for their own troops." "You know we've only got a short life here," our bus driver said, "anything is better than waiting for the chop." The 2 men were looking at each other. No attempt to escape, but no attempt to come toward us either. "You men know how to disable the tracking on these trucks." "Only way is to take out the data radio module," one said. "How long will it take you to do?" Both men looked at each other, still making no move. "If they left you with no family, you know they don't plan on keeping you alive for long," our bus driver said. "Your choice, but quickly," I said. "Help us by clearing 3 of these trucks and showing where the spare ammunition is, and we'll need full fuel tanks. The other 2 trucks need to be disabled since we don't have enough men to drive them." Still no movement, but Geraldine was getting restless. "Can I keelhaul the traitors?" She was moving closer to the 2 men, the machete in her hand. "And can I burn the trucks?" "Leave their heads," I said, walking toward them too, "and you can burn the other trucks." "I'll show you the ammunition," one man said. "Tom knows about the radios." That was it. I followed the man with the ammunition. It was behind a locked cabinet that my axe soon unlocked, and Geraldine and me helped in carrying every bit of ammunition there. There were also 6 shotguns that we added. Once the main roller door was open, we also took the machine guns from the 2 trucks we had to leave. Follow us, I said when everyone had a truck to drive and there was a pool of fuel over the floor. Geraldine to start the fire. One of the men helped her and then she was running back to our truck, the whole outfit heading to the airport. Something's on your mind, Geraldine said when it was the two of us leading the other 3 trucks. Things aren't making sense, I said, treating her as a sounding board. They would need more men to clear all those roads and we've not seen anyone actually doing that work. Everyone is hiding at home, Geraldine said. It hasn't even been a week since it started and someone has done a lot of work in that time. You don't trust her, do you? No. I waited for her to tell me what she thought, and when it didn't happen added, and I'm not sure of these men either. That bus driver has been good. We parked the same place by the bus full of undead and I asked the 2 new men to go inside and try to find the rest and see what they wanted done, keeping the bus driver with us. Need you to help with a different job, I said as the other 2 were nearly at the terminal door, but I waited until they were inside before I continued. Tell us how they cleared all the undead and the cars so quickly. I don't know, he said, we were told to keep inside and stay home. They called when it was safe to go out and everything had been done. Where's the cars hidden? Geraldine asked. I've seen them lined up in malls and car parks and a lot are in parks and ovals. But you don't know who did it. I thought it was the others. Like these other men, I waved toward the terminal building. Yes, but we all know we need to keep quiet. No one asks. The truth hit me and I cursed for not seeing it before. These new residents weren't tourists, they weren't here to resume a new life. Those first arrivals were here to clear the way for the rest. They were here to clean up and make things safe. They wouldn't know the local roads and ways and that's why they kept a few who did to run the transport and infrastructure, keeping their real work hidden until they had full control of how the city worked. I needed to change my plans and quickly. He knows the plan now, Geraldine said to the bus driver, he's got his I know what to do face on. I think I do know what to do and I think we are in much more danger than I thought before. Can you work out a way of getting your passengers loose inside the terminal? The bus driver nodded. Then we need to get all these trucks into the main tarmac where the planes come to unload. I can do all that if you trust me. I do. Geraldine and me will get the others ready to get away quickly. Trouble is coming close. I helped the bus driver get in through the driver's window and waited until he had maneuvered the big bus through the obstacles made to prevent vehicles crashing through the terminal doors and then crash it through the terminal doors. Then I helped him back out and left him to shift the trucks while Geraldine and me went in search of the others. We walked for miles, listening and hearing no one. We did learn a bit about where different things were, and we did find a haul of cake pieces and muffins individually wrapped. Geraldine found chips and drinks but we still saw no one else. Down some steps we opened a door onto the tarmac and saw where our trucks were being placed. One more to come, so we waited for it to arrive and handed our bus driver a snack while we asked him if he knew where to look. I don't know where they would be, but I do know the other buses will come soon. Do you want to try to recruit those drivers? Do you know them? I asked. Different people. Geraldine and me looked at each other. Our trust levels were rather low at the moment. They park over near where the planes stop, by that ramp over there. I thought the bus lines up where we first parked, I said. Never. Always close so the plane can turn around quicker, I know that much. Geraldine's glance to me echoed mine. Someone was lying and we would soon know who. Let's get our weapons and make sure they're ready to go and with plenty of bullets handy, I said. The 3 new trucks and our old all seemed prepared, but I did make sure our truck had the most ammunition and the 2 extra machine guns we'd taken. We heard the buses before we saw anything. Let them stop and we'll see what happen, I said. Can you get back to your old bus and free our undead without getting hurt? He smiled and sprinted off. I watched the buses arrive, 6 cream buses exactly as our bus driver had said, lining up on the tarmac, and their drivers going to stand around the mobile steps ready to place against the plane. We're going to shoot these buses, aren't we? Geraldine said excitedly. You do the shooting, I'll drive. Those drivers look Eastern, she said. You shoot them too, but maybe below the head. We were both grinning. Our truck or one of the new ones? Ours, I trust it better. I did too. Then the lights came on. Still not dark, but every light was on and the runway was lit up like a Christmas tree. I want to get the plane when it's still on the runway. We'll need to wait until its wheels are on the ground and it's going too slow to start up again, then you shoot it. The engines and the fuel is inside the wings. Aye, Captain Axe. Good shooting, First Mate Brave. No one else to tell our new plans. No one else to help. If it all worked, they would soon know. We waited, listening to the plane approaching. 4 engines, bigger explosion, Geraldine said, start it up now. I didn't want to give the pilots any reason not to land, so even though I did start the truck, I only inched ahead, ready to race it when I had my target. Geraldine had 2 machine guns ready, one each side of the truck and both with full boxes of bullets, and she had her black eye patch over one eye. It did look good, but I'm not sure it did anything for her aim. With the plane only feet from the ground, I took off toward the bus drivers. Definitely Eastern faces the closer I got. Geraldine started shooting when I thought we were too far out, but then one went down and then another. I could hear the squeal of the tires as they touched and the noise of the jets change as they started to slow, and all the drivers were lying down. Time for the big explosion. The plane was still moving fast when I drove toward it, Geraldine yelling something I couldn't understand, and then she was shooting again. Rat-a-tat. I wasn't sure how she was aiming as the truck was bumping and swerving as we ran over the grass alongside the runway, her gun not stopping and the plane still slowing. Surely the crew could see and would be trying to go around. The shooting stopped and I guessed she was out of ammunition, but I couldn't stop, needing to keep up with the speed of the plane. Then she started again. Rat-a-tat. New gun blasting bullets somewhere towards that big plane. Bits fell off. Lumps of metal were falling off the plane. No fire and no explosion, but it was damaged. I slowed the truck, now driving onto the runway and following the plane, needing to swerve to miss bits of metal. From this angle, the truck cab made it impossible for Geraldine to shoot, but I don't think she needed to shoot anymore. There were sparks from one left engine, and then a ring of fire from that engine, and then she got a little explosion that made part of the wing fall off and the plane turn almost sideways and plow into the grass alongside the runway, the front of the plane collapsing into the dirt. The plane had stopped and I slowed, still keeping a distance in case it did explode. Closer so I can shoot it more, Geraldine was yelling out the back. I kept moving to get alongside the stricken plane, seeing fuel dripping from part of the wing and some sparks from where the engine had been. Then a hatch opened and someone was standing in the doorway. Geraldine had seen and was back with her gun, and there was no one left looking out the doorway. We better try to get the others, I yelled to her, but she was sending another burst of bullets at the plane. She stopped as we set off for the terminal. Geraldine got her explosion when we were halfway back, a huge orange ball of flame that lit up the ground all around, and her cheering and waving her arms around in the air, but I was more interested in seeing the others. Our bus driver was with the 2 other men, all by the 3 new gun trucks. Seen the others? I yelled. He shook his head. Change of plan, he yelled back. Our helper was giving us false information, and when we found out we had to act quickly, I said, I still want to find the others, particularly that man with the wounded leg. Then we need to get out of here quickly. As I was speaking, the lights went off all around, even inside the terminal. Where would those switches be? I asked. Everyone shaking their head. Can you men drive around a bit and see what you see? Bring them back here if you find them. The 3 trucks were off, scouting the terminal grounds, while Geraldine and me stayed looking at the scene, her mainly watching the still burning plane and me searching for the others. 2 of the scout trucks returned to report seeing no one, so we waited for the last. It was our bus driver, and he'd been to check his old bus. Only some angry undead wandering the terminal. Maybe they've kept Nigel as a hostage, Geraldine said. Someone turned that power off, one driver said. They won't really know where we are, our bus driver said. We could yell, Geraldine said. Pirates had to yell. Yell then, I said. She did. Then the other three took turns, pointing all directions and yelling, then waiting for any possible reply. Even I was surprised when we heard one. By the fuel tanks. It sounded like Nigel, and we all ran to our trucks and drove toward the area the noise came from. Nigel, Kathy and 3 others were all trying to get into a wire mesh gate in front of a large tank labeled Jet Hay 1. Bring your axe, Nigel yelled. I did, striking hard with the heavy metal head against the padlock that was securing the gate, but it didn't break. We'll shoot it, Geraldine yelled. More fun. Everyone back in the trucks, I yelled. The others needed no second telling while Geraldine got her machine gun over the side of the truck tray ready for action. Rat-a-tat. Even I could see the holes she made and see the fuel jetting out those holes. Anyone got a match, our bus driver said. 2 of the others did, and soon there were lit matches being flicked toward the growing pool of fuel. Nothing happened, unless you count the matches going out something. Flares in those trucks, Nigel yelled, starting a rush to find them. Tin behind the passenger seat. 3 tins. 3 flares soon ignited and thrown. Like last time we used them, nothing happened for a while, but as the pretty red light grew stronger I knew it was time to leave. Guide us to get out of here toward the west, then stop somewhere we can all talk, I said to our bus driver. Sitting in the truck cabs, everyone waiting to be sure, but when the fire started, it was time to move quickly. Not exactly an explosion, it was certainly a big fire, and with the fuel still squirting out, it was going to burn a long time. A strong scent of burning kerosene as we drove around the terminal building, our guide taking us through a small back gate and along a road away from the main airport building. Geraldine by my side looking at the fires behind us and finally being rewarded with a rolling explosion of flame boiling high from where that fuel tank had been.